Welcome back to the ARCA Zoomcast. Hello, and that I'm Casey Campbell, and that is Ben Schneider, my good friend and colleague on the Grid Encore show that airs Monday night, which I am a part of, along with myself, Ben, Brandon Croslin, and Joshua Birch. You can see that live on Grid Network's YouTube channel. How's it going, man?
It's going all right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's thanks, of course. Our usual co-host Charlie Crawler, of course, is at Bristol tonight. I'm getting ready for the ARCA race, and yeah, it's definitely gonna be a fun one tonight, and should be a solid race. 29 cars in the field.
Yeah, I guess Sammy Smith and Brandon Jones locked
Yep.
out the front row. I was just trying to get caught up on the qualifying results here, but I suppose that's not too unexpected. I guess this is an ARCA East combo race as well, right? This is the end of the season for them. So, Sammy's obviously had a phenomenal year on that side of things, and he's got a little bit more competition tonight because it's a combo race. You got all the ARCA regulars in the field as well. And then, of course, Brandon Jones. I know our grid colleague Josh Birch is so excited that Brandon's back once again. But in all seriousness, of course, he's looking for just some extra track time for the Xfinity race tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting to see if anybody can stop either of those two Toyotas.
I thought you were going to be pretty excited that I was wearing a Mr. Met shirt.
Well, I wasn't going to comment on it, but since you brought that up, I mean, you know how I feel about that.
That's why I said it, because it's fun. So we have the starting line. Might as well. Sammy Smith and Brandon Jones, as you mentioned, are on the front row. Taylor Gray in third, Jesse Love in fourth, Connor Mozak and Brett Holmes Racing in fifth, Daniel Dye sixth, Raja Karuth is seventh, Nick Sanchez is eighth, Parker Chase is ninth, Mason Diaz is 10th. Some notables throughout the field. You got Jake Finch driving for a legendary team owner, James Finch. His father, he'll be starting 11th. Connor Jones in a fourth Venturini car in the 55. He'll start 12th. Tony Breidinger 13th. Amber Balkin 14th. Justin Carroll 15th. Andres Perez de Lara, that is a second DGR car, part of the Rev Racing program. A Rev Racing development driver driving for DGR. He'll be starting in the 16th position. Andy Jankowiak, a fellow New Yorker, in 17th. You got Greg Van Alsten 19th. Christian Rose will start 22nd. And then, of course, starting dead last, he had some mechanical issues. Leland Honeyman Jr., of course, who's currently third in the ARCA Menard Series East standings. Yeah, so it's going to be an entertaining race. Bristol's always going to be is always fun, but something to watch out for. Lap traffic is going to be a challenge for these drivers.
It certainly is, and that's something I remember from this race last year. And again, I know no disrespect to guys like Brad Smith or the fast track cars, people that are out there on these limited budgets just doing what they can. But at a track like Bristol, where you see the speeds that we see here with the front runners, and to see the discrepancy between them and the back markers here, it does get kind of concerning sometimes. So hopefully that doesn't become too much of an issue that affects the outcome of the race. But when you've got such a short track in terms of distance and the speeds that you're seeing here, it can seem like that discrepancy, which we see, all throughout the year in ARCA, but particularly whenever we go to Bristol, it's a little bit exaggerated, I think, in the minds of a lot of people.
For sure. Really kind of going in from that, you look at a lot of these, okay, thanks. You look at really this series, and you look at a bunch of these guys that are going to be racing in there. What are we going to expect tonight?
In terms of who I think is going to win the race, or just
just overall expectations?
Well, I think the winner is going to come from the front row, like I mentioned. Sammy Smith, Brandon Jones, I think are kind of set here. One of those two, I think, is probably going to end up taking the win, because you're going to see one of them pull out here. I see. Looks like we've got. Who's that? John Hunter Nemechek. We're watching truck practice going on live right now. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. But this
is my pick tonight too.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So
yeah, but just looking at the rest of the starting grid here, obviously Taylor Gray, as well as one of the regulars that you can expect to have a solid run, and then you've got some Venturini cars starting up towards the front as well. Jesse Love, of course, the two-time reigning West Series champion. I can't say defending because he's not defending his title this year, off doing some different things. But obviously he's a very good driver. So when you look at kind of the best of the rest here, because again, like I mentioned, I think your winner's going to come from this front row. Those are the two that I would look at, the guys starting on the second row as well. And then you've got your three championship protagonists, Daniel Dye, Raja Carruth, Nick Sanchez, starting 6th through 8th. So they're all right next to each other again. I know Raja's in particular got some work to do to catch his teammates. So he's going to need probably a little bit more than one spot tonight if he wants to make a serious dent in this championship.
For sure. He's 38 points behind Nick Sanchez right now in the standings. You sort of look at I know we'll have this probably discussion Monday during the encore show, but lots of big changes this week involving obviously when Kyle Busch signs with another team, it's going to impact the entire industry, and it did. Of course he went to RCR. That was announced on Tuesday, and of course the schedule came out Wednesday. With that, obviously, ARCA's schedule has not been released, although some dates were confirmed with that. Looks like, 2 dates at Kansas again, Talladega, Michigan, Daytona, Phoenix. Dover, of course, will be having ARCA East State. The West Series will have their championship at Phoenix again. Still a lot of questions surrounding what the schedule could look like. From people, what I've heard, and obviously from people I've talked to at ARCA, don't expect the schedule to have any big massive changes. Obviously the schedule will be out. The earliest could be before the season finale at Toledo in a few weeks, or that the latest could be where the PRI show in December. So that could be, what are we expecting from the ARCA schedule, you think? What do you want to see?
Well, I've got to tell you, and obviously I'm biased because I just made this West Coast trip out there this summer, but I was a little surprised to not see the Portland and Sonoma dates confirmed for West, even though the Phoenix date was, because it looked like they were confirming a lot of ARCA dates that are companion races with the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series, depending on the venue. So to have Xfinity confirmed for Portland and also for Sonoma as well, which was an interesting change to the Xfinity schedule. Interesting to see that Phoenix was the only confirmed West race, and likewise, you've only got one confirmed East race so far with Dover there. So it'll be interesting to see how those schedules get filled in. But of course, I think a lot of eyes are on the main ARCA Menards series as well. Again, I know you usually do this show with Charlie Crawl. I have, obviously much less knowledge than him when it comes to insider information, when it comes to ARCA, considering he's the PR director. So I'm coming at it from a much more outsider's point of view here. But if you're saying we're not going to see too many bombshell major changes, then I can certainly take your word for it there, and it gives me kind of an idea of what to expect when it comes to the ARCA schedule, and probably not going to see anything too major in terms of any differences from what we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that there could be, in regards to the East and West schedule, I've heard a lot of different things, especially on the West side of things, but that is another topic for another day. Don't want to get into that just yet. So yeah, possibilities there, but we got tonight, of course, this is the last broadcast for FS1. MAV TV will have the last 2 races of the season. This is 3 short tracks to finish out the year, and I know a lot of people were excited about this to finish it off, because usually the championship would have been, the last few years actually, the championship ended at Kansas. Well, with Kansas being moved up earlier into the season, it looks like we're going to get 3 short tracks to finish out the year. And what I'm excited about is, of course, I get to be at the championship race at Toledo. What are your thoughts on that? Having 3 short tracks to finish out the year in the main ARCA series.
It's an interesting change of pace. Like you mentioned, I think ARCA has, I think up until recently when the Cup Series decided to add the dirt race at Bristol and this new Chicago street race, I think ARCA had one of the most diverse schedules in the racing world, with the variety of tracks that they went to, because obviously they have a couple of dirt races. They usually try to get on one road course a year. I know that hasn't always been the case in recent seasons, but then you have your Daytonas and Talladegas and your short tracks and intermediates all in between as well. So to end the season on 3 similar types of tracks here, I'm not sure that that's ideal. I would maybe like to see a little bit more variety when it comes to the final races in the future, but forgive me, it's Bristol tonight, obviously, and then Toledo ends the season. Which race is in
Salem.
Salem? That's what I thought. I just didn't want to go on record and get that wrong there. But
It's all right.
yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if there's maybe a couple of drivers that you could highlight and point out that might give an advantage Schwartz or not, even if it's not from a championship. Some guys running part-time that might be able to eke out a win or something late here in the season. But it is an interesting change of pace.
Yeah, I've heard I've heard the Toledo race could have a lot of entries in that list from a lot of local racers and from names that I've heard so far. Yeah, it could be there could be some names. I know Andy Jankowiak has had some interest. Obviously, tonight will impact if he goes there. I've heard Trey Burke is going to be in the 02 for Young's Motorsports. Christian Rose will be at Toledo as well. So obviously DGR will be there, and we could have a pretty solid list of a lot of cars going to be at Toledo compared to last year where there was only just 14. So definitely going to be a show for that championship. And the best thing is all the drivers can compete, unlike Kansas where you have to be 18 years or older. So it's definitely going to be interesting here in a few weeks.
I will say I like Toledo as a finale. That just feels right.
Yeah,
so,
of course, it's also the home of
like
ARCA,
that.
so it's definitely good there. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week. Of course, tonight the Bristol race gets going at 6:30. You can catch it on FF1. You can also hear it on MRN Radio and Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, channel 90, and of course, you can stream it on Fox Sports Go. Remember, this is the last FS1 race of the year for the ARCA Menard Series. And of course, right after the race, you can catch the Truck Series at 9 p.m. And if you want a recap of all the feeder series, you can tune in at 7 p.m. Monday night for the Grid Encore show with myself, Ben, Joshua, and Brandon. So should be a fun one there, and a lot to discuss. All those schedules that got released this week. We'll probably talk about a lot of that, I think.
Oh yeah, we will.
All right. Well, Ben, thanks so much. Hope you're enjoying Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune and all the great game shows, and we'll have another discussion about that in a little bit later on, man. So we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming on, man.
Sounds good. Thank you.